Alrighty guys, hello, and today our herb of the month that we're talking about is going to be none other than the very infamous bay leaf. By the way, if you want to see these videos 2 weeks earlier, consider subscribing to my Patreon, where you not only get all these videos, but also recipe cards, specific deity profiles, and lots of other interesting things to look at. Video tiers start at $10 a month, so definitely consider checking it out. So, bay leaves have a pretty interesting history. I feel like most people will know their significance mythologically, but in case you don't, they actually do have a lot to do with the god Apollo. Apollo would typically be seen with, wearing kind of a wreath of bay leaves, and they were very, very significant also to his priestesses, which we'll get into a bit later. Nonetheless, these leaves were associated with victory, with wisdom, with success, and in fact, the term for bachelor's degree, baccalaureate, actually does have to do with bay leaves. Laureate, the laurel leaves, and bacca, the berries, they would be often woven into a wreath for graduates of medical school in antiquity to wear upon coming out of, Greek medical schools and so on and so forth. They would also be worn by heroes in ancient Greece and, really important warriors. Anyone who earned themselves a good deal of honor for their bravery, their skill, their knowledge, they would be given a crown of bay leaves. And so, of course, when it comes to Apollo, right, the god of music and of prophecy and of all these other things, this was also heavily associated with creative people like poets and other such things. Poets would often, have these kinds of bay leaves around as well. But specifically, these things, they come from the Mediterranean, and usually when you think of bay leaves, like the ones I'm holding right now, these are actually Turkish bay leaves. Turkish bay leaves have a kind of milder, slightly sweeter taste than, say, California bay. And they're also not poisonous, unlike some other, like cherry laurel. These are poisonous types of bay, but these ones are safe to eat, and we use them quite often in a lot of different dishes, and also very much in different kinds of magic. Now, first thing right off the bat, if you'll remember when I said that these are very important to Apollo's priestesses, that's because these are something of a narcotic. And, they can help you kind of fuzz out in the mind a little bit. And so his oracles, especially in Delphi, they would actually chew or burn bay leaves and use the smoke to kind of heighten their psychic abilities and heighten their ability to receive, messages from Apollo. So they would kind of be hotboxing it a little bit with the bay leaves, but that's okay. And they would do that, in order to, again, do their job. But because of that, they became associated with prophecy in general. So there's a lot of, superstitions that if you put some of these under your pillow, that you will get prophetic dreams, so on and so forth. And magically, because they are associated with sun and fire, they have a lot to do with protection, with optimism, success, luck, wealth. And in fact, one of my favorite simple spells to do, which you need to be very careful when you do, is actually to write a wish or something that you want to happen on a bay leaf and then burn it. I say be careful, because when you burn these, they kind of explode. They are very dramatic and crackly and loud when they burn. So definitely burn them in a fire-safe container, and definitely do not hold them while you are burning them. Definitely do not do what I've maybe done before, which is hold them upside down so the flame crawls up them and then also burns your hand. And then definitely don't drop it after that onto your tablecloth and almost burn it, like I may or may not have done. So these are great for prosperity spells as much as, psychic and prophetic spells. It's just that you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful depending on what you're doing with them. Another way to use these magically for psychic power or protection is to make bay leaf tea, which, yes, you can do that. You just take maybe 3 bay leaves, boil it in a cup of hot water, and you'll have some bay leaf tea. And it's safe to drink. You just don't want to drink too much of it, like all things. If you have an allergy or if you have taking any medications, you don't want to just go drinking any random old tea. This is just common knowledge. Don't start drinking a ton of this, especially if you've never had it before. But magically, again, very, very good for luck spells, psychic spells, prophecy spells, protection spells, and any other such things. Whenever you're thinking about magic, just remember their ancient associations, because you know that if they're associated with prophecy and wisdom, it's going to be really good for creativity, psychic power, and all of that. medicinally, actually, they are really good for like anti-inflammatory purposes. They're also antibacterial. And of course, I mean, they have a lot of vitamin A, B6, and C in here, so they got some good micronutrient content in there too. When you drink it as a tea, it can help with inflammation. It can also just ward off illness in general because of those antibacterial properties. And it's also apparently a little bit anti-dysentery, which I don't know how much of us have to worry about dysentery in the modern era. But if somehow you encounter that, God forbid, this might not fix the problem, but it might help. It's just better than not helping at all. And I mean, really, what it is just, it's some leaves, right? So think about like any other plant, any other herb, the contents in the leaves themselves. And in fact, actually, you know what you can do, which I didn't know. I mean, I know that my local farm sells these, but I just didn't think there was any point because they don't, like, survive outside here. But you can go get yourself a nice big pot and actually plant a bay laurel tree in the pot and have it as like an indoor shrub. And then literally you will have fresh bay leaves. And of course the fresh ones are going to be a little bit more potent, but the dried ones last you forever. I swear to God, I've had this bag of bay leaves for like 3 years or something. I've had this since I moved into this apartment, and I think the bag is bottomless. Like, I've been using them this entire time and I still have so many left. Buying a big bag of bay leaves means you will never run out. But okay, so I have all these bay leaves, what am I using them for, right? Well, so obviously, you know, I like to burn the occasional one in a safe place, right? So that I don't burn my house down. But also, when it comes to cooking, all of those associations I just told you about still exist, whether or not you're burning them in a ritual or whether or not you're throwing them in your spaghetti sauce. And so, in fact, the point of bay leaves, the point of them, is actually to leach out some of that acidity in certain soups and sauces and to lend a more earthy, slightly bitter flavor. It's not something that you can very easily pick up on, but you're not really supposed to either. A lot of people say, well, bay leaves don't do anything. They don't even, why do you even put them in? Well, because it's not what the flavor adds, it's what the flavor manipulates. It's what the flavor rounds out. So again, if you have a spaghetti sauce, tomato, that's very acidic. When you put this and a little bit of sugar in there, the sweetness brightens it up a bit, and the bay leaves take out some of that acidic bite, right? Takes out a little bit of that kind of tomato flavor. And so this, along with the other herbs, they very much help deepen and complicate that flavor into something that isn't so one note as just tomato, right? The same thing goes in stews or soups or anything that's braised, like braised meats. Anything that's getting cooked low and slow for a really long time, you'll want to throw a good 3 bay leaves in there, because those bay leaves are going to leach into that sauce. It's literally like making your entire sauce into bay leaf tea, right? I know that one of my ancestral dishes, Yota, uses like 4 of these. Maybe I would use 6, I don't know, it depends, but you put like 2 to 3 in the beans and you put 2 to 3 in the actual soup itself, and then you just have a ton of bay leaves floating around. You have to take them out, obviously, because these aren't edible. I've definitely caught myself a mouth of bay leaf and been like, oh no, because these are very hard. It doesn't matter how long you boil them, they will stay stiff and hard. You have to take them out. But what I like to do, and maybe this is a little bit of magic too, but I like to play a game where whoever gets the bay leaf is the lucky winner, right? So if you get a bay leaf, it's good luck. If you get it in your bowl, it's good luck. There you go. Just think of it like that. It's kind of like when people step in dog poop and they say that brings good luck. If you find a bay leaf in your dish or in your mouth on accident, it's good luck. Think about it that way. But all in all, definitely have these on hand, because even if you think they're not doing anything for the flavor, first of all, I disagree, but second of all, they're still doing something for you magically, and that's all those associations with luck, optimism, creativity, wisdom, you know, psychic power. It's all there. So, instant way to boost anything psychically, instant way to boost creativity, throw some of these in your sauces. With that said, I will see you guys next week for some more conversations on kitchen witchcraft, and I hope that you have a little bit more appreciation for the humble bay leaf now going forward. See ya!